Hi and welcome to Sophie Group official YouTube channel. On this channel, you get crypto updates from Sophie Crypto Hub, business updates from Sophie Business Hub, and our promotional updates from Sophie Media. All our videos are categorized on different playlists for your search preference. Today marks the day two of our free digital and skill leadership skill campaign. Okay, and we have our guest speaker who is already with us, Mr. Moses Ipoma, the founder of Engage Life International. He is going to be taking us on a course today, day one, purpose discovery. You are highly welcome, sir.
Hello, friends. Good evening. It's a joy being with us. This hour. I appreciate God for Sophie Group and for this skill acquisition empowerment program. You are all welcome this evening. You are all Now, we'll be looking at discovering your purpose, and it should be a day contact. It will be a 3-day contact, and I believe within that is today, tomorrow, and on Friday. That's today, tomorrow, and Saturday. We would have helped substantially to help, would have assisted you to a large extent to this, um, discover the purpose for which you were created. That discovering your purpose, discovering your purpose, discovering your purpose, discovering your purpose, discovering your purpose. Now there is no subject in life that's as important as this. The reason why men fail is because they function outside their elements. Birds fly, fish swim. Your purpose is that which you are designed to do. And when you discover your purpose, you live in your natural element. You live in your natural element. I said earlier, there is nothing as important as the subject of purpose. Perhaps for those who are believers, adherents of the Christian religion, it could only be secondary or second to the matter of salvation. And I want you to note that one way in which a religious adherent, whether he be a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, or whatever, one way in which an individual can give glory to God, to his creator, is by discovering and maximizing the purpose for which he was created. Now, tomorrow I'll be helping us see some basic misconceptions about this subject. Because if I ask you, you would tell me that discovering your potential, or your purpose rather, and possibly discovering your potential, they mean the same thing. You could equally tell me that purpose and destiny means the same. But by tomorrow's class, I'll be helping us see the difference between purpose and destiny, the difference between purpose and potential, the difference between purpose and career and the rest of them. Will be helping us define those concepts. And tomorrow would also help us see how that a person can actually come into his purpose in life. And would also then the day after tomorrow would focus on helping you see how that after discovering your purpose, it is necessary for you to fulfill them or fulfill it. So we'll be helping you see how to fulfill your purpose. So basically, that is what we'll be doing in this course. In this course, I believe you are following. Now, I said this evening we'll be basically doing introduction, and I will just be saying some things to excite your mind, to open you up to what we'll be looking at tomorrow and next. I'll be saying some things to open you up to what we'll be looking at tomorrow and next. All right. Now, to discover actually means to remove a cover. The word discover means removing a cover. One thing I want you to note is this: purpose is not necessarily, or rather, purpose is not invented. Purpose is not invented. Purpose is discovered. Purpose is discovered. It is not given to man to invent his life's purpose, or as it is called in psychology, calling. You don't invent it, you discover it. That is, you remove the covering of that from off it. Purpose is discovered. And the discovery of purpose is not mystical. Now, to a large extent, what we'll be looking at basically is the science of purpose discovery. The science of purpose discovery. How that you do not need to be hyper spiritual. You do not need to be a spiritual guru in order for you to know the reason for which you were born. Too many times, the average believer, for those, the average religious adherent, trying to be as professional as possible, because I know there is a possibility that there are persons here who might not have embraced the idea of religion. But one of the things we'll be looking at the end of this course, probably on Friday, on Saturday, one of the things we'll be looking at the end of the class, of the course, is the reality of creation. Because if you are not a creationist, what we are discussing may not make much sense to you. It might not make much sense to you. Because you need to be a creationist to understand the concept of purpose. Until you believe that until you believe that a creator was responsible for your being, you would not bother to find out the reason for which that creator created you. I guess you are following. Now, um, the standard summary of life contains three descriptions. The saddest summary of life contains three descriptions: could have, might have, and should have. I could have been, I could have, I might have, I should have become a medical doctor. I should have, I should have, I should have. Sad summaries, sad summaries. I wish I had pursued my dream. Sad summary, sad summary. I wish I had done this thing I'm doing now all my life. Sad summary, sad summary. If you want to avoid such phrases at the end of your life, you must be determined to take life seriously. You must be determined to take life seriously. You must be determined to take the issue of peoples seriously. No man will live effectively who has not discovered the reason for his existence. No man would live impactfully who has not discovered the purpose for his existence. The question is, if you are alive, why are you alive? It is a tragedy to live and not know why. It is a tragedy to be alive and not know why. So within the next 2-3 days, you are actually on a journey, on a voyage to self-discovery. And the greatest of all discovery is actually the discovery of who you really are. Now, I would want you to note a few things. A man that has not discovered his purpose is not alive. He is not truly living. Because to be alive, to live, is to fulfill or to be actively engaging the purpose for the reason, that's for your existence. To live purposelessly is to exist meaninglessly, is to be useless. Being alive means making the most of who you are and never settling for less than your life is capable of. And that is purposeful living. That is purposeful living. That is purposeful living. In the years to come, because we live in an age where everyone is in a mad rush for money, to the end that people trade their destiny, or rather their purpose, for money. People sacrifice their passion for dollar or for gold. And the end result of this is certainly going to be an increase in dissatisfaction, depression, and suicide ideation. Because depression is the natural lot of a man who lives life outside his or her purpose. Nothing will frustrate a fish than living on land. I'm saying this to help you see the importance of discovering your purpose. We struggle and compete because we have not discovered our uniqueness. Your purpose is your uniqueness, your originality. Your originality. Are you following me? Now, at the end of today, I'll be leaving us with some questions which I want us to ponder on and work on until we meet tomorrow evening by 7. Our class tomorrow hopefully would be an hour 20 minutes. And in addition to a live broadcast, I'll be leaving with us a short PDF uh, and maybe some slides, Then that will be in addition to our live broadcast. And the first 20 persons that will be online would have the privilege of having a one-on-one coaching section with me. So make sure you are online before 7. The first 15, 20 persons would have the privilege of having a one-on-one coaching section in which I would personally guide them to a large extent, to the extent that charity can think in discovering and their peoples and helping them come up with goals, personal vision statements, personal mission statements, personal values and stuff like that. But that will be exclusively for those who would have the discipline of being in time tomorrow. But I want you to note that it will not be so elaborate because if it does not cost, it might not count. What I'm saying in essence is an entire course would come at some price. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'll focus for now. The class is going to arm you sufficiently and give you most of what you need to get started off on your journey. And some of the skills you'll be learning afterwards, after this free session in this program, some of the skills you'll be learning might be vital to your fulfilling your purpose in life. It might be vital. Now, a few questions that I want you to ponder on. And work on while you wait for the class tomorrow. Number one, if money were not a factor, if money was not a factor, what will you do with your life? Number two, if you could do anything and become anything you want, what would you be? mean, if you could do anything and become anything you want to be, if you have no limit with regards to what you want to be and who you want to be, what would you rather be? Number three, what are your independent childhood dreams? What are your independent childhood dreams? What were those things you dreamed of becoming when you grew up? What are they? Number four. This is an assignment. It's not necessarily a question, it's an assignment. Write, write down. Let me frame it this way, so that it will not look so awkward. I would have said very blatantly that you should write your funeral oration. But let me put it this way. In clear terms, write down very clearly how you want to be remembered. Imagine that you are dead. Imagine that you are dead. Imagine that you have lived your life and you are gone. Then you are now asked to write a report about your life. Hmm? Write, write, and make sure you write it down. What you would desire, or that's what you would desire to be written of you. I don't know if you get it. You are free to ask questions tonight. In any area you are not clear, you are free to ask questions tonight. You are free to ask questions tonight. Now, equally, I want you to write down 5 things that are important to you. 5 things that you consider very important in life. Then I want you to write 5 problems that you see in the society that you wish you can solve. Write 5 problems that you see in the society that you wish you can solve. Write down 5 things. Before you do this, I say, write down 5 things that you wish. All right. Are you there? Now, if you were God, if I tomorrow now, the first problem you will solve. If I make you God tomorrow, what is the first problem you will solve? What is what is that thing that when you do, you feel happy? and you can do on earth. I want you to note this, that basically we have three types of people on earth. We have the frustrated, the confused, and the fulfilled. We have three types of people on earth: the frustrated, the confused, and the fulfilled. What we are discussing today, tomorrow, and next, and possibly on Saturday, that's okay, I mean tomorrow and next, is what makes a man either frustrated, confused, or fulfilled. Five is life, who does is certainly going to be frustrated. It does not matter how much wealth he amasses, he will still be frustrated because he would lack fulfillment. They will have the confused. Those who do not really know where they are going. And they have cues, but they don't have clarity. They are confused. And you can actually be pulled out from these two zones and become a part of the fulfilled if you take what I'm saying very seriously. Are you following me? Are you following me? So our body tonight, and if equally tomorrow and next, is to make you a part of the fulfilled. As I said, this class is going to be a short one. We're going to do a lot tomorrow and next. It's going to be a very down. We are winding up already. I want you to work sincerely on the questions I asked. They'll be very helpful in our class tomorrow. Invite as many persons as possible. Please invite as many persons as possible. We'll be demystifying the matter of people's tomorrow. As I said, you don't need to be hyper spiritual to come into God's purpose for your life. You don't need to. You don't need to. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you can actually discover the purpose for which you were created and come into it. Now, as we draw this class to an end, I encourage you tonight, we spend some time pondering upon these questions and answering them. Maslow will always say that the richest place on earth, on planet Earth, is the cemetery. Because therein lies books that were never written, songs that were never composed, ideas that never saw vision, because those individuals did not discover the purpose for which they were created. See you tomorrow, 7 o'clock. The first 15 or 20 persons would have the privilege of having a free coaching section with me. Do not miss this opportunity. Do not miss this class. Do not miss this class. Whatever your faith may be, I want to pray with you. I want to pray with you. I know you believe in the God of heaven, because I said earlier, If you are not a creationist, this meeting might not profit you much. I believe you believe, I want to presume that you believe in a creator. You believe in somebody that created you. You believe you are not an object of chance. You believe you are not an object of chance. You believe in a God. I want to pray with you as we join this class to close. Heavenly Father, I appreciate you for this audience. Thank you for those that you brought. These are for those who will listen afterwards. I pray that within the space of 3 days, you will give them understanding with regards to the purpose for which they were created. Let this matter be unveiled to their hearts, that their time and their labor will be rewarded in the name of Jesus Christ. God bless you all. Good night.
Good evening, everyone. Really want to thank our guest speaker, Brother Moses Woman, for starting today's class with purpose discovery. I believe, okay, we just take one or two questions, just like he said. We are free to ask questions, so we just take one or two questions. For those of us who have questions, just like he has assured us, tomorrow the first 20 persons will have the privilege to have free coaching. That's free personal coaching with him. So, okay, for those of us who have been on the online on the webinar, if we have any question, we can you can just unmute yourself and ask. We'll just be taking two questions. If you have two questions, if you have any question, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. If there is no question, then we should make sure we answer those assignments, and be ready for tomorrow's class. So I don't know if there's any question, we can just say the question. So he is going to do justice to it.
Right, if anyone has a question,
Hello. Oh, sorry.
go ahead, Miss Charity.
Okay, so my question is basically, I want to know, is there any relationship with time frame, and finding your purpose? Does time frame have to do anything with finding your purpose? Thank you.
Okay, that's you're asking if there is a relationship between time and purpose. Am I right?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Actually, your purpose is time bound. Your purpose is time bound, and that's why one thing purpose discovery does for you is that it makes you time conscious. It delivers you from the burden of worthlessness, of aimless living, and of um, time to ponder. Because one indices that a man has discovered purpose is that he ceases to while away time. A key factor, I want you to note this. Life actually is spelled Tine. Life is spelled Tine because it is um, the how would I put this down? Life is made up of time. Your life is actually time bound. It is the time allotted to you to discharge your assignment in life. So, if a person fails to discover purpose in time, he will not have sufficient time to fully deploy um, his potential. You will not have sufficient time because the truth is this: as you discover your purpose, You would have to develop yourself to be able to fully fulfill them. And development takes time. Development takes time. So there is a relationship between time and people's fulfillment. There is no time that is too late to discover your purpose. But a man that discovers purpose, for instance, now, and there is only a possibility of a man to discover his purpose late, actually. Actually, for instance, now, a man whose I want to start teaching what I want to teach tomorrow. That, for instance, if you ought to be a medical doctor in order to fulfill God's purpose for your life, I want to state here, which will be what will be a part of what will be trashing tomorrow, that there is it is possible. How will I put this now? Being a medical doctor is no person's purpose. It could be the platform upon which a man will fulfill his purpose. Now, and it takes time to become a medical doctor. So if your purpose is within the border of medical care, providing medical care for mankind, or providing solutions to some ailments, and it took you eternity to discover that you ought to be a medical doctor, it is possible that a particular time will come and you might not be able to become a medical doctor again. Now, you could do some things in order for you to make contributions in the health sector, whether or not you're a medical doctor. But that platform that would have afforded you the full power input to deploy your potentials, to manifest your purpose, would not be there. Because time have robbed you of the opportunity of being a medical doctor. Or peradventure, a person that ought to be, for those who are Catholics, a Catholic priest. And owing to the fact that he didn't discover his purpose in time, ends up getting married. Being a Catholic priest is no person's purpose, but it is actually a platform. It's a dimension of destiny. I said tomorrow we'll be looking at the difference between destiny and purpose. It's a dimension of destiny. There are about 4 dimensions of destiny. There are about 4 dimensions, four facets of destiny. There could be more, but I've discovered 4. I may not give us the entire 4 tomorrow, but we'll be talking extensively on that. So what I'm saying in essence is, this purpose discovery is time bound. It's time sensitive. It's time sensitive. How that there is no time that is so late to venture into it. But the person could be time constrained, it could be time limited, it could be time. I believe you understand what I'm trying to say.
Good evening. So I want to ask another question. Is it allowed?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, since it is time bound, can you actually constrain yourself within a limited time and say, okay, let me say I'm setting 2 days. In these 2 days, I'm going to do everything it takes that in these 2 days I must discover my purpose, or maybe 2 weeks or a month or a year, and then in that 2 weeks or in that stipulated time, you actually discover it. Doesn't work that way. Or you actually just trust God and just keep trusting His leading that at His own time He will actually reveal it to you.
Now, don't worry, we'll be looking at these matters tomorrow. We'll be looking at these matters tomorrow. I wouldn't want us to run so fast. We'll be looking at these matters tomorrow. Just be online tomorrow and be that I want you to note that you you don't need a tent to discover sufficiently what you should be doing part time. You don't need it. You don't need it to discover sufficiently what you should be doing part time. And I would not want us to spiritualize everything. I wouldn't want us to spiritualize everything. But just note, you don't need eternity to discover God's purpose or your purpose in life. And you do not necessarily need to be too spiritual to discover God's purpose in life. In fact, you do not necessarily need to, will not be met. See you tomorrow. The end. Your questions will be addressed. And take your time to answer the questions we asked. There will be major pointers that would help you and help us
Okay, thank you so much, so sir. So what we are going to do is that those of us that have questions, I would love us to type the questions and send it to the group. So by tomorrow, the speaker will be starting from answering those questions that we have. Likewise, those who will be watching this video, it will be uploaded in the Telegram group before tomorrow's class. So if you are watching it and you have questions, just write down those questions on the Telegram group, and we'll be having will be the speaker will be handling those questions. So once more, we want to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Omar Moses, the founder of Embrace Life International, for starting this journey with us today as we journey to discover our purpose. Personally, I'm taking note and I'm going to do the assignment likewise. Let's see how God helps us to hit our goal and hit our target. Remember that this is a process, it's a journey. You first of all discover why you are here, discover the reason why you need to do the things you need to do. Because if you don't discover your purpose, making money will just be, let's say, just one of those things. Discipline yourself to manage your time, to be a leader, to set your goals. There will just be things you just want to do just because other persons are doing it. But once purpose, I do say that when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So a lot of persons abuse their lives. So let's get prepared for tomorrow's class, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Have a nice